welcome colonists. I'm Sherman and today I bring you another episode of Astro Colony. Now last time on episode 1 we got our carbon reactor set up to give us some much needed power. We got our asteroid catchers set up to help us with resources. We got our conveyors set up to push those resources to our new smelter and create a bit of automation that's now making us some much needed bars. Now, what I have done in between episodes is I went ahead and grinded out some iron and copper, and I worked on a little bit of basic science. Now, this took me maybe 15 minutes of just babysitting the asteroid catchers and flying around and smacking asteroids. It doesn't take very long, so don't be scared to go ahead and pause the video right here if you want to follow along and do that for a little while, just to kind of have be at the same place that we're at. Now, I know I told you in episode 1 to kind of follow your technology tree and follow ABOT. Today's episode, we are going to break off of that a little bit, because I really want to get auto asteroid catching. That's going to help us the most, so we don't have to babysit those asteroid catchers anymore. And of course, getting this automation is going to help us a lot, so we can get this splitter for our carbon reactors. Now, because of that, we have to get mining and we have to get robotics, as you can see from the tech tree paths. Mining is going to give us a quest to build this miner. That miner does not work on the platform. It only works on the actual little land pieces that we can go to. And we're not going to quite do that yet. So we're going to ignore ABOT on that quest. And the same with robotics. Robotics is going to help us make these miner drones. We don't need those at the moment. So first I want to start with engineering. Engineering is going to unlock these engineering sciences, which we are now going to start needing for unlocking things along with our basic science. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to hit dock technology points to the main menu so we can start seeing them without opening our technology window. Now, ABOT's going to tell us build a laboratory. Perfect. We can do that. To build the laboratory, we are going to need 20 wire. This makes 4 at a time, so I want to make 5. Now, iron wire, unlike copper wire, is not as important. You are going to use iron wire very little. So I don't suggest making extra, as it will probably just go to waste. Now, what I will do is I put this at 5. I am going to go ahead and turn this up 1 more. And that's because I do know that we're going to need the extra 4 for our oxygen generator later on. Now, I'm going to set this up kind of in a temporary location for now, because with astronauts are going to use this facility later on, and with astronauts they can be a little difficult on how they get around and what they can pass and things of that nature. Their pathing does not like certain objects in their way. But for now, I'm just gonna put it close to power, because if I put it out of the way, way out of the way, so we could kind of plan it for astronauts, I'm gonna end up having to run a very long wire to get there. So we're not gonna do that at the moment. Now my plan is to have 3 carbon reactors here. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. That's 1. Asteroid getting in my way here. 1, 2, 3. That's 2. Then we need electric. And I think 1 back. I think that's going to put it where I want it. And then I'm going to run a wire here, here. And that gets that powered in. Now, how this is going to work is when we drop in our carbon reactors, they're actually going to wire up automatically. It doesn't make sense necessarily, since this is the edge of the platform, to really spend a lot of time running it underneath. But if you want it to be cleaner, feel free to do so. You'll just have to bust holes kind of in the center of these three here. And then you could run this underneath if you want, or you could put it anywhere else on the platform that you feel comfortable with. So now if you shift click onto an item, you can split it. I'm going to drop in for now 25 iron and 25 copper, and that will start getting our engineering points ready to go. And A-bot, once we make 5 of those, will complete this mission. Now, while we're waiting on that to produce, we're going to go ahead and start kind of making things a little easier for us, and we're going to go down the water path to get our oxygen barrier. This will keep us from having to manually fill up our oxygen. And since it's going to be part of our automation pathway here anyways, it's good to go ahead and get it set up so we have somewhere for that ice to go. Now I want this input to be on our same path here. And I'm going to put this about 1 away from our oxygen generator. Now while we're thinking about it, let me go ahead and hit this a couple of times to fill up. Now the reason I want it 1 away from the oxygen generator is so that we have easy access from this water output to this water input. Now a lot of you are going to want to use the pipes, and yes, the pipes make sense, but we need water cell storage to be able to store the water as the ice gets broken down and this produces water. So what I like to do is basically just use the water cell as my pipes, so that I'm basically building my water storage along the way. Now this doesn't do good if you're wanting to, let's say, run some water from this side of the platform to the other, because you're going to have these water barriers basically blocking the whole thing. So if you wanted to do something like I've been doing with the electricity and running underneath, that's when you're really going to need pipes. Also, pipes allow you to run water up and down. So if you built a second level, you can run the water up. Now, since we ran our wire through here earlier, we are actually on that same grid there, that same line. So we can just drop that in, and this is powered and ready to go. So I'm going to steal the ice that we have in here, and we're going to go ahead and place it in here. Then we need to make sure that our oxygen generator is wired up, because I did not wire this up earlier. We're going to jump off. And we're just going to connect that guy in. And I'm going to double check that. Oh, we don't have that unlocked yet. So now we're going to go ahead and unlock oxygen barrier. That's going to unlock the ability to craft oxygen tanks. So we'll get those going. And A-bot's going to tell us the oxygen barrier automatically refills our oxygen. And make sure the newly built oxygen barrier covers the maximum area of the space station. So basically, the best way to cover that max area is to put it right dead in the center. Now this does create a little bit of a complication, and this is where the extra 4 iron wire that I made came into play. So if you guys don't have the wire, that's because you didn't make the extra one. You just need 1 set of 4 to build this guy. Now the middle square here, this 3x3 of our platform, is called a colony origin block. The colony origin block can't be deleted or it will break the entire platform. I believe it actually stops you. I'm not going to try that here, but I do believe it actually stops you from being able to delete it. So we are going to have to run our wire 1 over to get off that colony origin block, and then we can go underneath. Now I'm going to come over here, and hopefully we have enough wire already created. I should probably get some more going because we use copper wire quite a bit. It'll be a little bit before we get the automation going for that. And I'm just going to run it into this guy here. And now it is on the grid. And now, as long as this guy has power and this guy has water, we will get oxygen tanks. And as long as we have oxygen tanks and we're in the barrier, we no longer, as you can see, my oxygen is no longer going down. It auto-fills. I don't have to worry about running over here and filling anymore, which now you guys probably understand why I kept forgetting to fill it up. Now, the next piece of action we need to make sure that we're keeping this endless flow of water by dropping our ice into here. To do that, we are going to need to unlock some logistic blocks. We're also going to need to make sure that we have some iron plates. I have crafted some beforehand, so you may need to take a few minutes to get that crafted. And I'm going to run this right to here. Now you'll notice that I'm not turning this sideways, and the reason why is we're going to use a different block to push this ice into the icebreaker. And that is going to be a perfectly named block called the pusher block. Now what the pusher block does is whatever we select into this block, there's settings, and you can get in there with E like you do with everything else. As an item goes past this block, if it qualifies, it will get pushed in whatever direction you put these arrows. So in this case, as ice comes down, it's going to push it into our icebreaker. So what I'm going to do is we need to make sure that the ice is going down there. I'm going to go ahead and put a pusher block here. And I'm going to set this to our ores. And for the time being, until we get the rest of our automation set up, I'm going to go ahead and put an additional pusher block here. And I'm going to put coal. And this is so that coal doesn't come down here and lock up our ice from getting down there. And then we're going to click on that and we're going to rotate it. And what that's going to do is that's going to make the conveyor belt finish. So now let's give this guy a test. We're going to grab some iron because we need it. We're going to need some coal to make sure that our lines are not going to get jammed up. And I am very lacking of asteroids on this side right now. Okay. Now I do need iron. We need bunches of iron, but we need some water, some ice to test that our ice is going in properly. So once this guy breaks down, what we should see is that ice will load into here. And honestly, we can test this a different way. Let's do a little test here to make sure that at least our ice is doing what we want it to do. So if you go to your asteroid catcher and you drop, oh, this is actually going to start making ice. You drop some items in there, it will throw it onto conveyor. So now we've got our ore just went in there, our coal just went in there, perfect. And our ice is coming down and getting pushed into here. Beautiful. We are all set. Now, the next thing we need is we need to start getting these guys unlocked so we can get to the auto asteroid catching. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock construction. And in this case, Abot should be telling us to build a constructor. Oh, no, for this mission, it's talking about floors and how to construct items. We're going to ignore that for now. I do need to know kind of where some of my automation pieces are going to be over here, so I'm going to roughly lay them out. And I will explain this once we get over here. But we need our splitter to get that going. But I have to have an idea of where our belts are going to be. Could push materials. Okay. I think this will work. For for what I need. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see if this actually works right off the bat, me just thinking about it. I did not have this planned out. So for our constructor, we're going to need 2 more iron wire. Now the constructor has 2 inputs. You've got the one input we can see right here on the left that is on the same side as the electric. You've got your outputs down here in the bottom. Then when I rotate it, we have an input also on this side over here. In this case, I'm going to want to use the side input, and we are going to... So we need a pusher that's going to push there. We need a splitter. So this is actually probably fine. We'll do that. And it's perfectly fine for your conveyors to run next to each other as long as you're not running across an input or an output trying to go to an input. Because what will happen is that machine will basically output everything from that output onto that block, and you'll just create kind of a loop of resources going into the machine. Okay, and we don't need to load anything into here for now. So now we want to get this guy wired up, and what this guy is going to do for us is it's going to start making our plates at a more, or just at a better use of our resources. So it's only going to cost us 1 iron bar to get 2 plates instead of 1 iron bar to get 1 plate. But we do need to wire that guy in, so we are going to jump off again. And as always, we need more and more copper wire. It's super beneficial once we get that copper wire actually automated. All right. So now what that also has done is it's unlocked the ability to go in here and now craft iron rods. And we are going to need those when we get up here to our auto asteroid catchers. Those are going to cost us 4 apiece. We're also going to need some for our base warehouse that's going to come up. So we need 4 times 4 is 16, and we need 22. And we're also going to need 4 copper plates. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some of these plates here. And I'm going to craft, let's do 40. And for the copper, 15's good. 15's good. Now what we've run into is we have a power outage. This is because we ran out of coal. Now we are overproducing our reactor, but that actually will not turn off the power. That's just going to make the efficiency. I think we talked about that in episode 1. The efficiency go down, so we're at 160%. So if I look at, say, our smelter, it's only working at 62% efficiency. Our asteroid catchers are actually working fine, which is interesting. And this guy is going to work slower also at 62%. And that's why we're going to need additional reactors. So to help us produce things a little bit faster, I'm going to go ahead and put these in place. And I'm going to do some lovely splitting here of resources. Let's do 35's good. Let's do 30. All right, kind of makes this even. We really don't need all 3 running, so I'm not too worried about it. The 2 at the moment is going to be fine, but we'll go ahead and get the 3rd one running just so we can counteract the new things that we're putting in place. All right. So to manage this, we need to get our automation done. So I'm going to just quickly unlock these guys. We're going to grab our... Oh, we're short on something. We're short on some basic science for both of these. We need 9 more. So give me just a minute, guys. I'm gonna jump up here, start smacking some asteroids, and be right back. All right, so I went ahead and got enough basic science so that we can unlock both of these guys. So we need to get our iron rods crafted. And before we said we needed 22. So we are going to grab 22 plates and drop those in there. That'll start crafting. We don't have quite enough coal. So I'm going to grab some coal with our asteroid catcher. Ooh, that is a very nice asteroid. I'm going to grab that guy. I do love the gold. That's got a little coal in it. Let's actually grab that guy. And we'll put this asteroid on deck. Alright. Then we'll grab that coal. Some copper and iron on deck. Always use water. Some copper on deck. Okay. And so that will start getting our iron rods made. And what we're going to do with those iron rods is the most beautiful thing, the greatest place to get to. You're going to just look at your asteroid catcher and you're going to hit U. And what that's going to do is paint it red, which means that it is now automated. And as you can see, it's already grabbing an asteroid for us. We're going to go ahead and grab this guy as well. Get him unlocked and look at him go. Let's see if we have some more here. We do. Go ahead and upgrade this guy and this guy. And we are all set with 4 asteroid catchers. Now these guys are going to kill the resources for us. You're going to see the resources just absolutely rolling in. I'm going to grab this other 4 out of here. So what we want to do is we want to get the rest of our automation set up here now that we have our splitter. So what I'm going to do here is, well, you know what? Let's start with the splitter. It is not in our hotkey, so we're going to go into our K menu for construction. We're going to choose the splitter. And then we're going to make sure that we put the splitter where the arrows are in the direction that we want to split, and the non-arrow is the direction that it's incoming. And we're going to put that here. Now what this is going to do is this is going to cause anything coming into this to split one to the left, then one straight, then one to the right, then one to the left, one straight, one right. Okay? And so what we need to do is we need to push our coal into here because I have this conveyor belt going down this way. All right. So now that the carbon's going that way, we can go ahead and clear this. So this should stop pushing anything into there. And we should see our carbon if... Oh, I'm sorry. That actually... Nothing going into it apparently actually makes everything go into it. So that was wrong. We could just delete it. We don't exactly need it, but for now, I'm just going to leave it there. And so now we have our carbon going down here. And you'll see one went in there. Now one went to the right. This one should go to the left. And now all of our carbon reactors are going to stay auto-filled up and split for us. Now the next thing I need to do is I need to get iron bars and copper bars going into this guy. The problem is I don't want all of my iron and copper going in. I only want some of my iron and copper going into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the splitter to basically half it for me. And we're going to put it right here. Now, if you have a splitter that doesn't have 3 directions to go, so in this case, it can't really dump an item into the machine. It's just going to split between the 2 locations that you have. Or if you don't have 2 locations, it'll honestly just kind of work like a pusher. And then I'm going to put a pusher block here. And I'm going to put copper and iron and copper there, because that is what we need into here right now. We don't need our gold plates. I need gold bars for later on. That's for what we've been collecting the bars for. So we're going to wait on plates. Now, some of you might be saying, well, why didn't you just put a splitter here? And then it will dump half of your copper and iron onto your belt that's going that way. And it will dump the other half going this way. You could do it that way. You absolutely can. You can do it that way. You can have your items splitting here. But what happens is if anything else pushes through that splitter, it's also going to split. So let's say, for instance, we were dumping iron rods also out of here. It's going to split those resources and send iron rods into here, which we don't need. So this way, I'm kind of stopping what's going into that splitter. Now, speaking of, we need to get our bars actually going down to it. And we're going to do so by connecting our output to our conveyor. Now, this is where things are going to start getting a bit locked up because we have a lot of resources in here that needs to get dumped out. And that's going to get in the way of our resources coming from our asteroid catchers, which is going to kind of bog down the line. Don't worry, it will catch up. It's just a temporary problem. If we have somewhere for the other items like the gold that's coming out to go. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off gold going into plates. And you know what? That's not going to work because I'm splitting anyways. Okay, so that means we need to get our warehouse up. Now our warehouse, oh, I did not make enough. I did, just didn't grab it. Our warehouse is the reason we needed some of those copper plates. And I didn't mean to make quite as much as I did, but we needed the other iron rods as well. Now the warehouse is a very awesome construction thing for us. So in its default configuration, it's going to have 2 inputs on each side and 1 output. If you go in and you click swap conveyor belts or conveyor gates, it'll change those outputs to inputs and the inputs to outputs. And that's what I'm going to need for now. And we are going to run this guy down here. Turn that and put it in there. And that's going to dump all these resources into this warehouse. Now, the really awesome thing about this warehouse is anything that's in this warehouse we can use without having to go pick it up. So we do not have to go get things out of this warehouse to use them. And we're going to go ahead and dump our plates out of our conveyor into there. We are much better off than we were before now. Now that we have our warehouse set up, I'm probably going to go ahead and build a recycler. We are starting to, if you go into your inventory, we do have, you know, some of these foundation blocks, some of these floor plates that we've deleted to run power. I'm also going to go ahead and dump these guys in here. Not our ice, because our machine is not going to be able to get ice out of there at the moment. We're going to do that like so. All right, we are in a really, really good spot here, guys. We've got our engineering being researched. We got plates being created. We've got a warehouse set up. We've got oxygen set up. We're now at automated asteroid catchers, which is just absolutely killing resources. If you look up at the top, we're already at 45 iron, 42 copper, 11 gold. It's just going to keep getting better. We got a ton of water being created. we are looking absolutely fantastic. But like I said, I do want to get some of those resources out of the things. Is the recycler not on our menu? I could have swore it was. Maybe we haven't unlocked it. We have not. And that's going to take a couple more points of basic science. And this will get A-Bot to stop yelling at us about the recycling quest. And you can build the recycler whenever you feel comfortable to. The recycler can give you a lot of resources that potentially you're not going to need right off the bat. Let's go ahead and grab that last copper there. So I like to wait a little bit. There she is. Let's see, what's going to be a good spot for us to set this up? We could set it up here. And then I'm not going to use this input. We probably are going to need it later. I'm going to go ahead and tie this into our guy that's inputting over here. And I'm out of wire because we are not auto crafting wire. That's the only tricky part about now having the auto warehouse is you're no longer getting that copper in there for wire. So I'm going to make quite a handful here, as we use it a lot, and I'm going to need it for wiring up this anyway. All right, and let's jump underneath. We should be able to wire that in right where the constructor is. I can get it to go this way. All right. Now with the recycler, what it does is when you are deleting objects, they will go into that bottom part of your inventory, and then you can dump them all in there, and it will break it down into pieces. And in this case, we set it up, it will output into our warehouse, which is perfect. We don't have any resources in here. That's fine, they're coming. And as you can see, the asteroid catchers have caught up. The line is caught up. We're now looking really good for our smelter. It's not keeping any resources in there except for coal. And that's because it can actually use the coal. So that's perfectly fine that we leave a little bit in there. It just made it in before we stopped having it drop the coal out of there. All right, guys, so that's going to call it here. I think we're in a really good spot. We've made a lot of progress. You guys can honestly just sit for a little while. Your oxygen generator's going. Everything's automated. And you can let those resources just add up without having to do too much. Or while this is gathering resources, you might fly around a little bit and grab yourself some basic science. Because we are still going to need that basic science for quite a bit. Honestly, I think all the way to the end. Yep. Now, you will get some basic science from building things, like floors and stuff like that, which we will look at trying to probably expand things a little bit. But I'm trying to keep it as close together as possible so we have a lot of room and we don't have to do too much building outside of this area. Now, next episode, we will work on getting engines together and getting to one of the islands areas. We can take a look at the map here. There are going to be quite a few. We got some there, some around us, some really close above us. Wow, that's close. And a decent amount of resources. I like it. So next episode, we are going to work on getting that going and starting that adventure into what resources we can get off of those guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. If you liked the video, drop a like, maybe hit a subscribe, hit that notification bell so you guys know when I drop additional videos. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll have a video up tomorrow for Planet Crafter, and I will see you guys next Monday for another episode of Astro Colony. Thank you guys.